I'm getting ready to talk about Donald Trump's cratering, absolutely collapsing, imploding, pick a descriptor of what is happening to Donald Trump's poll numbers. That American people are largely turning their backs on what they thought was going to be economic boom times, prosperity, winning. You're going to get so tired of winning. They thought that. Largely because they're naive, or it's wishful thinking, or they're just stupid. I don't know. But I'm going to play this clip from Harry Enten from CNN. He tweeted this. We'll start with this. Then I want to talk about a couple of elements here. CBS's new poll is, I'd argue, the worst poll for Trump during the entire second term. Most say the economy is getting worse, a huge shift from March, with most now saying Trump, not Biden, is responsible for the economy. And Trump's net approval goes negative in one of his best polls. Now, one of the things I want to talk about here that I think is being overlooked relative to whether Donald Trump's polls are good or bad is that, and maybe this undercuts the point of the whole video, is it doesn't fucking matter anymore. The Supreme Court has effectively made him a king. He is immune from consequence for anything he does in office. Why would he give a shit whether people approve of what he's doing? He cannot be held accountable for anything. He's now in power. He wields the weight and the power of 1/3 of our government, and the other two co-equal branches are being ignored. It's going to take poll numbers far worse than these already disastrous polls where people are ready to take to the streets to rise up and do the work that Congress apparently can't find within themselves to do. It's going to take governors doing something. It's going to take Democratic leaders finding within them the motivation to do what's right, maybe for fear of being replaced themselves. Anyway, here's Harry Enten. He tweeted this video with his analysis here, and it's remarkable how quickly this is happening, even among Donald Trump's supporters, people who earlier on, before he was elected, said, yeah, the economy is not getting worse. And now they're saying, yeah, this is dangerous times. Watch this.
I would argue this is the worst set of polling data that Donald Trump has had in his entire second term as president, in part because the CBS News YouGov poll that came out yesterday has been one of his best. Let's first take a look at how folks are feeling about the state of the economy. Think that the economy is getting worse. What you don't have to be a mathematical genius to see the trend line on your screen, and it is getting worse. More folks are feeling the economy is going southward. Back in November, it was just 42% of Americans who said the economy is getting worse. You jump forward to February, 49%. You jump forward to March, 51%. Now look at this number, 53%. The clear majority of Americans think that the economy is getting worse. It's an 11-point jump from November to now, and of course, Donald Trump won the 2024 election because he promised to fix the economy, and yet views of the economy are going down. The percentage who say it's getting worse is going up, Sarah Silverman.
Okay, so usually the former administration actually is responsible for the economy, especially in the first couple of years of the new presidency. So who are people blaming for this?
This, to me, is a very interesting trend line that we're seeing develop over the last few months. All right, so, of course, Joe Biden was the last president. Donald Trump is the current president. Donald Trump wants to say, don't blame me if you're upset with the state of the economy. Blame the other guy. I don't think Americans are buying what he's selling at this particular point, at least anymore. More responsible for the economic state. They asked about inflation back in March. Look at this. 38% said Joe Biden. 34% said Donald Trump. But look at where we are this month when they asked about the general state of the economy. Look at how much higher the Trump number is. 54%. The Joe Biden percentage drops through the floor at 21%. So this idea that Donald Trump will try to sell to the American public, is trying to sell to the American public, is that it's the other guy. It's not me. It's that other guy, that old guy, Joe Biden. No longer is this being the American public is no longer buying this set of arguments like they were back in March. And of course, What is so important here? We have had the tariff war in the last month. That's what's going on. I believe that a massive shift is occurring because Americans are seeing what's happening on their television screens. They are seeing what's happening in the stock market. They're seeing what's happening in the bond market. One day Donald Trump says one thing about the tariff war. The next day he says another thing. One day one of his advisors says one thing. The next day that same exact advisor says another thing. And all of a sudden Americans are picking up on this. And this idea that Donald Trump is trying to sell, that you can blame Joe Biden. Look at this again. This percentage, 54 to 21. A clear majority now are blaming Donald Trump for the state of the economy, not Joe Biden.
It's clear they're literally not buying it. All right, so how has all of this, the tariff war, the uncertainty, the back and forth, the flip-flopping, how is that affecting his overarching rating?
Yeah, okay, so I think this is so important, right? We've been talking about the economy, right? We talked about it last week. We spoke about it the week before. This has been the #1 story of the Trump presidency, and I made you viewers a promise. I said if prices go up and voters' thoughts on the economy go down, that would bring Donald Trump's approval rating down with him. That was the promise I made. And let's take a look at whether or not that's actually occurring, because that's the whole kid and caboodle here. If the two aren't linked, who really cares, right? Except for our 401ks. Trump's net approval rating. Look at this. It's a huge slide in it. In early February, it was plus 6 points. Then you go to late February, plus 2 points. Then you go to March, it's even. And look at this massive jump from late March to now, minus 6 points. That's a 6-point drop in less than a month. And why is that occurring? It is because of the tariff war. The voters are punishing Donald Trump in one of his best polls, which now even that best poll is a negative poll for Donald Trump.
Your promise came true, but I have the feeling you would not have done this if your promise was completely wrong.
I get to choose my own segment, Sarah Steiner, and so I chose this one.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much, Harry Enton.
It's a -6 drop between March and now, but it's a -12 drop between February and now. What you should notice is that the baseline for Donald Trump is it's going to be there. The cult, that's like 34% of the country. They're never going to say Donald Trump is to blame for the economy. They're going to continue to blame Obama for shit that happens 40 years from now. However, the regular segment of the country that is not beholden to what the cult says that we should say about Donald Trump, they're speaking out. 53% of Americans are saying the economy is getting worse. 54% of those polled are saying that it's Donald Trump's fault. And listen, how could they not believe that it's Donald Trump's fault when he promised he would turn everything around even before he took office after the election? He would end the Ukraine war while he was president-elect. Well, here we are, and civilians are still being murdered by Vladimir Putin. He would end the genocide in Gaza. That's still taking place as well. He would end high prices at the pump, at the grocery store. Remember, it's an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word, groceries. Where are we there? Prices are higher. The stock market is in collapse because of Donald Trump, and they know it. The American people have pinpointed in. Maybe they've seen enough. Maybe they know the propaganda cycle, and they're like, yeah, I made a mistake. We'll see in coming months. I invite you to this conversation, though. What do you think? You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you want to take part in disseminating this information, helping me produce these videos on this channel and all the other content that we make, I would appreciate that very much. You can click the join button below for $2 a month. Become a channel member. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. It's the same kind of thing, like a channel membership. It's just over on Patreon. All of it helps support all the work we do, my channel, Brittany Page's channel, and the podcast, I Doubt It, which you should subscribe to as well. That is a good time. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.